Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. Welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. As always, you can follow us on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, just everything. We're Topper Talk Podcast on all those. Feel free to share the episodes, subscribe on YouTube. Tell a friend as always. Spread the word. As always, I've got Tyler here with me. Tyler, man, you ready to jump into a fun episode?
Yeah, man. Let's get this thing cooking, boy.
Before we do that, let's talk about our sponsor, and that is the Fireman Moving Company. They are the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. And like I always say, man, worth every penny. Great sponsor, great company. Will just make your life a lot easier when it comes to moving. Nobody likes moving. Nobody wants to move. So let them do it for you. I promise you, they will make your life just much more pleasant in that regard. As always, before we jump into the main part of the episode, let's get caught up with the Red Towel wrap up, which catches us up with all the athletics we've missed since we last recorded. So Tyler, hit us with that wrap up.
All right, so on 2:15, women's basketball got beat by UTEP to a score of 68-73.
Yeah, the women's team has been really up and down this year. Just seems like every time they start to get a little mojo, win a couple games, which they did last week. Now they trip and stumble, on the road at UTEP. I know winning on the road is hard. But this team just can't quite seem to get over the hump and, just lost another tough game.
On 2:16, baseball lost to Bradley 2-5. Softball lost a game to North Alabama 1-3, and then softball turned around and lost again to Chattanooga 5-7. But the game ended in 5 innings due to weather.
Yeah, baseball and softball kicking off. Obviously, baseball was the home opener versus Bradley. Unfortunately, they lost that game. I think we've got some better news later on in this wrap up. And then softball, same thing. A couple tough losses there. One of them due to weather. The game was ended early when they were still battling, trying to come back. Who knows how that would have ended officially, but goes down as a loss. But we'll turn it around. We got a good team.
Yeah, for sure. On 2:17, the softball won against North Alabama 7-3. And then they turned around and won again versus Murray State to a score of 3-2. And then women's basketball sadly dropped another one to New Mexico State University 61-64. And tennis also dropped a match to Murray State to a tune of 0-7.
Yeah, nice to see softball get back on the winning side, win a couple games. Women's basketball, again, like I said, just can't get over the hump. A game they had to lead, could have won that game, but ultimately gave it up to New Mexico State. And then tennis, I guess if Murray State's going to beat us in anything, I guess they can beat us in tennis. That's the only thing. Congratulations, racers. Hate that for the tennis team. I think they come back home for their next 7 matches. I think I saw on their schedule. So we'll have some home cooking hopefully coming up soon, playing either at our home course, Buchanan, wherever they're playing, indoors or outdoors. But we'll get back on track, start winning some matches.
On 2:18, softball won against Ball State 6-4. Baseball turned around and revenged their earlier loss versus Bradley with a win to a score of 5-0. And then the baseball also won. It was a doubleheader. Also beat Bradley again to a score of 5-3.
Yeah, softball and baseball got back on the winning track. Softball had won a couple games previously. And then baseball, got the series win versus Bradley after dropping the opening game. Had a doubleheader there and took both of those games. So good to see the baseball tops and Mark Rarden, Team 105, start off the season with a series win. I know they've got a midweek versus Lipscomb, I believe, coming up this week. So let's keep it rolling, keep winning.
Baseball's Mason Burns and Cole Heath were named to the preseason stopper of the year watch list.
Yeah, I think we've seen now a lot of our baseball players, named to some preseason watch lists. Some of our pitchers, relief pitchers, now these preseason stopper of the year, two guys. So always nice to see. We've had a lot of rebuilding and retooling of this baseball team, but it looks like we've got some pieces that can help us win games. But it's all about how it comes together. But I really trust Coach Rarden to do that and put it together and win some games.
Oh yeah, I think he's got the team going to be rolling right. WKU soccer spring schedule was released. 6 matches. They have a 7-on-7 tourney. Then they have a match at Bellarmine versus Tribeca Nazarene. They also have an alumni game. They have a match versus Lipscomb and at Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, the spring schedule, it's a nice little short, condensed schedule. All of it's basically pretty local games. They're staying close to home, not traveling too far. Just, keep their legs warm, see what they got. And after how the fall soccer season ended kind of in disappointing fashion, I'm sure those girls are ready to get back out there and just get back on track, hopefully win some games and just, get ready for the fall season.
Well, on the season schedule's been released. Lady Topper Golf spring schedule was announced. They play at the Reynolds Lake Oconee Invitational at Edenton, Georgia, UNF Collegiate in Jacksonville, Florida. So this is the spring break shootout in Dade City, Florida, the Chattanooga Classic, and then the Conference USA Championship in Magnolia, Texas, which is April 15th through 17th.
Yeah, men's golf has been started. They've had an invitational a couple weeks ago, and now women's golf spring schedule. I think we all remember Katie Craig had a really solid end to the last year's season. Had a nice U.S. amateur summer run, so we're ready to see what she's going to do and help lead this team to several victories, I'm sure. So I'm really excited to see what that Lady Topper golf team does, and then make some noise in that CSA championship. I know they're going to be ready and hopefully bring home a title.
And then to end up the Red Tail wrap up, Tegan Moore was named to the Conference USA Freshman of the Week after our wins over UTEP and New Mexico State University, and WKU Baseball at number 23 in the College Insiders Mid-Major Top 25. Uh,
Yeah, Tegan Moore definitely earned that Freshman of the Week. Had two really good games against UTEP and New Mexico State. Didn't lead us in scoring at UTEP or versus UTEP, but did against New Mexico State. Won both of those games, obviously. And then WKU basketball team, back in the top 25 of that College Insiders Mid-Major Top 25. I know some people don't like that label. They don't like that affiliation being called mid-major or highlighting this top 25, but I'd rather be talked about than not be talked about. We're winning some ball games. We're back in that conversation. We're at number 23. We've won 5 games in a row. So, I'd rather be there than not be there. So go Tops.
and that concludes this week Red Tail wrap up. Moff, back to you.
Yeah, really good wrap up. A lot of wins in there, some bounce backs. Now, speaking of wins, we're going to get back to this WKU basketball team and talk about the revenge toppers, as I called them, because we had a home series this last week where we hosted a couple teams that we had lost to previously at third place, UTEP and New Mexico State. We ended up winning both of those games, getting some exacted some revenge on some road losses. We're now riding a 5-game winning streak. We're sitting at 19-7 overall. We're 8-4 in the conference. Tyler, before we jump into these ball games, how do these revenge victories feel to you?
Well, both these games felt really good to actually be able to win. Whenever we played third place, they didn't blow us out the water. They didn't, absolutely destroy us. So I thought whenever we played them at Diddle Arena, it would have been the good guys on top, which they both end up doing. Just really good to beat Rawls, especially in that Saturday matchup. Screw him. But no, I mean he was really a non-factor in both of these games. He did score 6 points in this game. but at their place, he was an absolute non-factor. Yeah, this team showed grit, and this team showed that they can play together. So I'm really happy about these games.
Yeah, first let's talk about the Thursday game versus UTEP. We end up winning that game 90-80, so a high scoring affair. The game started out with WKU jumping out to an early lead. UTEP was able to scrap back and get into the game with their defense. Again, they lead the nation in turnovers and steals caused. They caused a lot of turnovers by us, some bad passes, forced some just ugly turnovers, and that quite frankly led to quick 3-point chances for them. WKU did end up going up by 7 with 5 minutes remaining, and then before the half ended, we were down by 1 going into half, thanks in big part to 4 more turnovers in those last 5 minutes, which quite frankly resulted in points for UTEP. Really their defensive aggressiveness, really kind of brings out the worst in our fast pace and what we want to do. Just speeds us up, and we get sloppy, careless with the ball. We turn it over, and they're going the other way scoring. Now after halftime, we only had 5 turnovers. We were able to pull away. We were led by Don McHenry, who scored 17 of his total 25 points in the second half. He finished with those 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Tegan Moore, the freshman of the week, scored 16 points and had 2 rebounds. Babacar Faye had a double-double with 10 points and 10 rebounds. Brandon Newman had 10 points and 5 rebounds. And then Christian Lander, Dante Allen, and Rodney Howard all scored 7 points each. So, Tyler, what about these Hilltop performances in this big revenge game against UTEP?
Well, this was Babacar Faye's second double-double of the season. I think he got that first one versus Canisius Canisius. I thought it was a very good team effort. It's kind of refreshing having someone come off the bench. Because Stansbury, he wouldn't really play a bench. Here you got a true freshman coming off and giving you 16 points, 2 rebounds. And, he did have 3 personal fouls, but hey, you can't take them home with you. Might as well get a few. Don McHenry, you said he scored 17 of his 25 in the second half. So in the first half, he seems like he could be a second half player. I'm not mad at that because we need his points being scored. Newman doing what Newman does. He was 2 of 5 from 3-point land, 4 of 9 from field goals. He didn't attempt a free throw this game, but he also did give you 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Lander, really great, really happy to see him back. It may take him a few games to get back to the speed because he did miss 6 or 7. I'm not real mad at his output. 7 points, 3 of 8 field goals, 1 of 5 from 3 points. He didn't attempt a field goal or free throw, but he did give you 2 rebounds, 1 assist. But he did commit 2 turnovers. So I'm not real mad at him for that. Especially coming off concussion protocol, which to me seemed like a very extended protocol for him. I'm just glad everything's all right and he's back out there on the court. Don McHenry giving you 5. Newman and McHenry both gave us 5 assists. I do like when the guards are able to get down in there and get the rebounds, kind of help out. Faye, Howard, and Marshall as well. He Marshall, these 2 games, and I know we're going to talk about New Mexico State. Wasn't his high scoring games, but man, did he help us out in assists. He got 4 in this game, and we'll talk about New Mexico State here in just a second. But I do like how our players are complimenting each other. McHenry and Tegan Moore both had huge games versus UTEP, and we'll talk about what's going to happen next game. But I really like this team a whole lot.
Yeah, they're coming together and playing some good basketball. That's for sure. Now let's look at some of the key indicators before we jump into grades. And normally I start with WKU, but I'm going to start on the UTEP side. for this game, and we held them to 41.4% shooting on the game, and they were 8 out of 29 from three, which is 27.6%. And then they were also 14 out of 25 from the free throw line, which is 56%. So all three of those stats, I mean, 41% from the floor, well below their average, 27% from three, below their average, and then 56% from free throws. You shoot 25. You barely made half of them. All those stats really help contribute to us being able to pull away and win this game. UTEP did force 12 steals on this game. Again, like I said, they lead the nation in steals per game. They actually broke their season record as a program for steals in a season in this game. They've got several games plus conference tournament left to play, so they're obviously doing something right on that defensive side of the ball and the havoc that they create and are a tough matchup for us. Overall, WKU shot 56.7% from the field, and we shot 35.3% from three. Now, we didn't take a lot of them. We only took 17, but we made 6 of those. And we also made 16 out of 22 of our free throws, which is good for 72.7%. And I really remember early in the season, it felt like we weren't hitting above 70% often. And now I think this is a few games in a row we've been, 70, 80%. So it's good to see coming down the stretch again, playing our best basketball. It's mid-February, heading towards March, conference tournament time, kind of all coming together. Guys are just gelling, people hopefully getting healthy. Christian Lander's back, and, hopefully make a run at this thing going into March. We also out rebounded UTEP 40-38, although UTEP did have 14 offensive rebounds on the game, which was kind of frustrating in real time watching it. Just felt like every time they missed a shot, they were getting the rebound. I think that offensive rebound percentage turned out to like 34% of their misses they were getting the rebounds on, and we were like 23%. We got our rebounds back, so very frustrating. And we had 16 turnovers, which was the highest we've had in several games. But we also had they also had 14 turnovers, so it wasn't a big loss there in the turnover department for us. So now let's jump into some grades for this UTEP game. Tyler, what do you have for the offense versus UTEP?
Offense is going to get an A plus. We scored over our season average, and we had a lot of players chipping in there to get the point. So yeah, definitely an A plus on my part.
Yeah, I'm giving them an A as well. When you score 90 points and you go ahead and win by double figures, it's hard to really break over the game and find things to complain about. Obviously, Coach Lutz and the staff will find things that they could have improved upon and possibly won this game by more. But I'm happy with a 90-80 win, so I'll take it as definitely an A for me. What about the defense?
This is where it really grinded my gears. And when I was watching the game, I was in a group chat with 2 of my buddies, Wesley Taylor and Stephen Moore. And I was watching it, and every time a UTEP player would drive, they get past their guy, they drive in, we'd foul them, they would shoot a layup, they somehow hit it. The old-fashioned three-point play. You can't have that. If someone's going to shoot a layup on you and you foul them, make sure they don't get that ball over the lip of the cylinder. And it just seemed like once UTEP players got past their guy, no one would really come over and help the defense. So for that, I know we gave up 80. I'm going to have to maybe go a C on that. I was just really disheartened, really furious at the fact that we was giving up so many and ones in this game.
Yeah, lucky for us, they were missing free throws, right? 56%. We weren't fouling them hard. That's in the 80s and 90s. You can't clothesline them anymore. I wish you could. But yeah, defense, I'm pretty close to you there. I mean, I thought the defensive effort was good. But you would like to see us hold someone to less than 80. I know it's a fast-paced game, especially against that type of team that plays kind of a havoc defense and speeds you up a little bit. So I'm going to give the defense a B. What about the coaching versus UTEP?
Well, in the post-game interview, Lutz said, yes, we scored 90, but this wasn't championship basketball. We went into halftime down 1, and we came out and we scored 51 in the second half. We only allowed them to score 40. So obviously he was in there giving them a pep talk, getting them, telling them what to key in on. So I'm gonna give coaching an A in this as well.
Yeah, I'm giving coaching an A as well, and it's a breath of fresh air to see a coaching staff that obviously goes in and makes adjustments, because in years past we would see a team that would just come out flat and just do the same old thing, square peg round hole, keep trying to jam it in there and do something that wasn't working, and just lose the game going away. Granted, and we've seen several games, in a row now where we've come out and we have outscored the opponent by double figures in the second half. Obviously, you'd like to do that in the first half too, then come out and really put the gas down and blow them out in the second half. But that doesn't always happen. It's tight first halves. Go in the half, tied or barely down, barely up, whatever it is. Then you come out and outscore them by 10, 12, 14, and win going away. That's a nice feeling. So coaching matters. I think we are seeing that very clearly and evidently this season. With Coach Lutz and staff, they have definitely made an impact, and we're glad to have them on the hill. So I'm giving coaching an A all day. What about the fans in this game?
Well, on the TV and on the radio while I was at work, it sounded a lot better than, especially on the radio, it sounded a lot better than what it was. When it was on TV, you could see the empty seats down there in the lower section. Then came out that only 3,300 people was there. I think for a team that is on a winning streak, it's a Thursday night. There's kind of no reason not to be there. So I'm gonna give them a C on that one. I wish more people would buy in and come and support the Lutz and the basketball team.
Yeah, I was also really shocked at the announced attendance of 3,300, and some change there. I had people text me during the game, how's the crowd look? I was like, yeah, it's not as good as we would like it to be, but I was guessing it was around 4,000 people or so. And then after the game, when I saw 3,300, I was really shocked that it was that low. But the people that were there were loud. They were engaged. They were, they cared about it. So even at 3,300, which is disappointing, I think I tweeted that after the game. That's a disappointing number for a team that plays an exciting brand of basketball, fast paced, number one tempo in the nation, and quite frankly is winning a lot of games now. They won this game, made 18 wins on the season. That's already more than we won last season. We're nipping on the heels of first place in the conference. We've only lost one game at home. This is a good team, and I think we still hopefully have our best basketball in front of us. So I'm right there with you. I'm going to give the fans a C. That was very average, and hopefully and luckily we saw a better output in the next game. What's your overall grade for this game?
Oh, let's see. I had an AC. I'm hmm, I'm gonna give the overall. Offense did fantastic. Defense left something to be desired. Coaching awesome. Fans a lot to be desired. So I'm probably going to give them an A minus or a B plus overall.
Yeah, I'm going with an A. I mean, win's a win's a win. Whether we won by 1 or 100, we scored 90. They only scored 80. We won. I don't have a lot of complaints about this game. We got revenge. We held serve at home. We've got to keep winning these home games. Now we only have one home game left and a few on the road. So, we had to win this game to, stay in contention for that number one seed in the conference tournament. So I'm giving them an A. I mean, overall, it's hard to complain about a nice victory and a revenge victory. Now let's move on and talk about the win on Saturday over New Mexico State and the Fighting Jordan Rawls. We had in Diddle Arena. The victory pushed us to 19-7 overall in the season, and we're 8-4 in conference, and now on a 5-game winning streak. And we dropped New Mexico State to 11-15 on the season. They're 5-6 in conference, and they're still winless on the road. The announced attendance was 5,102 people. It wasn't a lot of students. I had a couple people ask me where are the students. I wish I knew. At their dorms or at home. I guess I don't know where they were. The lower half of the student section where the band was had a nice. It was filled in. We had Soul Train made an appearance and was running around the arena with his board, telling everybody to do the wave. But the upper half of that, that 300 section of the student section was just pretty sparse up there. But the rest of the crowd, 5,100. I think that was our second biggest crowd of the season, behind maybe only the Middle Tennessee State game, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't care what you heard. That crowd was loud. They were engaged. It was a very, very good and solid crowd for a nice victory on this Saturday. So, Tyler, how did this revenge game feel to you?
Well, it made it even better that we welcomed Rawls back into EA Dale Arena. Ground that he thought was friendly, and just really just sent his ass packing to a nice loss of 72-58. I have no sympathy for Rawls. He was cool when he was here, but dude, I it's over for you. So yeah, it felt really good to be able to beat this team, especially since they beat us by 2 at third place, and we beat them by really ass kicking them. Just a great team effort. 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 guys in double figures, 2 knocking on the door. Big parts played by the true freshmen. And I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but Jack Edlin came to play, Moore came to play, and may not have been the best scoring by McHenry, but hey, we still got the dub. It was like I said earlier, it was a great team effort. So this one felt really nice to win and to put one in the left hand column.
Yeah, this game, it started out really slow. I mean, the first basket of the game wasn't scored until almost 3 minutes had gone off the clock. I think there was like 17:02 before the first 2 points were scored. So it was a really slow back and forth, just kind of sloppy, nobody making a shot. Started out slow, and then New Mexico State was able to kind of slowly stretch a lead out to 9. They were up 26-17, mostly because of just turnovers. Western was turning the ball over. New Mexico State was turning around making some threes. And then the Tegan Moore show started, as I called it on Instagram and Twitter. If you follow, I was enjoying the Tegan Moore show over the last 2 minutes and 41 seconds of the half. He had 7 points and helped pull us back into the game. And then we had a Don McHenry jumper at the halftime buzzer that tied it at 33 going into halftime. Then after half, it really just turned into a defensive showcase. It was really one of the better halves defensively, in my opinion, that we had played all season. Like you said, we had 5 guys that were in double figures. We were led by Tegan Moore. He had 12 points, also had 3 rebounds. Then we had Babakar Fai with 11 points, also had 5 rebounds. We had Enoch Kalambe. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. And then we had Rodney Howard with 10 points, 3 rebounds. Don McHenry, 10 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. And then we had 2 other guys, Brandon Newman, Dante Allen, chipped in with 9 points each. They had 5 and 4 rebounds. So really just, this was probably one of the best games as far as spreading the scoring wealth. And then we got to talk about Jack Edlin. Jack, even though he didn't score, played 14 minutes, but man, he is just a hard-nosed, great, gritty player that you want on your team. I want him on my team. He didn't score any points. He had 3 fouls, but he had 3 assists. He had 2 rebounds. This is the smallest guy on the court, probably my size, probably 5'10-ish. Had 2 rebounds in the game, 3 assists. Was the primary ball handler for most of the time when Don McHenry was sitting. And just did a great job. Christian Lander played this game again. Didn't have a good game, 0 points. He had 3 fouls, did have 3 rebounds, only took 1 shot in the game. He was 0 for 1, so didn't have his best game, but just really impressed with this team. Didn't have to lean on Don McHenry to get you, that 20 plus points. Tegan Moore, you can just really tell he's getting comfortable out there with the ball. He gets it, and he's looking to go to the hole and absorb some contact and score. So, Tyler, how about these Hilltopper performances? What do you think about this game before we jump into some key indicator and grades?
Tegan freaking Moore. He is going to be a WKU legend. I know I tweeted it out. He's definitely going to be that kid. Dude, it's awesome to see him come out there and play the way he does. Enoch, I think this was maybe his highest scoring game. I'm pretty sure. Uh, if it ain't, it definitely ranks up there. He played great offense and defense. Gave us 5 rebounds, like you said. Uh, Don McHenry, not his type of scoring, not his type of game, but whenever you got 5 players in double figures, we don't need him to have 20 plus points a game. Jack Edelin, dude, I couldn't be more happier with him with his type of play in this game. Whenever he came down and basically saved a layup, he stripped the guy from behind and forced it off his foot or off his hand in whenever he slid out of bounds. That's the type of hustle that it will make fans notice and fans cheer for that type of hard nosed type basketball. So yeah, I have nothing to complain about the players and their scoring and all that. We out rebounded them pretty handedly. Christian Lander had 3, Edelin had 2, which is amazing. Enoch 5, BJ Marable coming in and playing. It's been a very long time since we've seen him play. He gave you 1 rebound in his 2 minutes. This was just probably one of the greatest team efforts that we've seen. But Marshall, yeah, he didn't score, but he still got you 5 rebounds and 5 assists and 2 steals and 1 personal foul. Now, granted, he did miss 6 shots, but with that kind of hustle, this just wasn't his game to score. But he still found a way to give to the team, and I respect the hell out of that, man. This is just a great team effort.
Yeah, talk about Wu and Jack specifically. Some of the things they do don't always show up on that stat sheet. And I like to call winning plays. I tagged Jack in a comment saying that on Instagram. He shared it for us. I hope he knows and appreciates just how much the fans enjoy his hard nosed style of play and just being that gritty, tough player. Now, looking at some key indicators for this game, WKU shot much better than New Mexico State. We shot 46.4% from the field. They shot 39.7%. We both were about the same from 3. We were at 26.3%. They were 28%. Really, we made hay at the free throw line. We were 15 out of 17 from the free throw line. That's 88%. And they were 5 out of 10 from the free throw line. That's 50%. Like you said, we out rebounded them 41-29. So just a handy rebounding margin there for us. Really on the defensive end, 30 for us, 19 for them. Just dominated them there. We had more assists than them. Even on steals, turnovers, we were even, both 11. So nice to see us keeping that number down. And then really another number that jumps out to you, a big reason why we pulled away and won this game pretty handily is points in the paint. Just guys getting to the hole. Don McHenry, Tegan, Rodney, Baba, just guys just going to the hole, back to the basket, making good plays. We scored 38 points in the paint. They scored 22. So nice, comfortable victory. Feel really good about it. Now let's jump into some grades for this game. Tyler, what's your grade for the offense versus New Mexico State?
I'm going to make this comment really quick. I feel like we play our best game whenever we shoot 20 and less 3-pointers. On this winning streak, I don't know. I know we probably shot at least 1 over 20, but it seems like we're never shooting that many. We are getting the points in the paint. We are driving the ball, getting fouled, shooting the layup and all that. And just continuing that, I feel like we really played. We did score less than our season average of 80. We scored 8 less, but you can't really be too mad whenever you score 72 and we hold them to 58. So I'm going to give the offense an A on this one.
Yeah, these two games were a couple of our slower paced games. Looking at our average on the season, how many shots and possessions we're getting up for the season. So slower pace, you'll still score 90 in the first game versus UTEP, but scoring 72, but having a comfortable 14-point margin, dominating the free throw line, dominating rebounds, points in the paint. I mean, winning stats. So I feel like every time we have a game preview, we do keys to victory. Several of those bullet points come up in our discussion on what we have to do to win the game. Offense gets an A for me. Again, like we've said, it was probably the best spread out efforts of the season, where just no one person was, had to have the ball in their hands and go get a bucket. Don McHenry's usually that guy, but it's been other players several times this season. Just a nice, well distributed scoring effort across the whole roster. So the offense gets an A for me. What about the defense?
Defense held New Mexico State to 20% 3-point shooters, 39.7% field goal. We tied with 11. Definitely rebounded them. Just automatically just destroyed them in rebounding. They're going to get an A for me, an A+ for me.
Yeah, defense is easily an A. I mean, it was a great effort. Really just took control of this game and never looked back. So defense, easy A. When these guys are playing at their best and just communicating and not fouling, playing without fouling. Don't let them get to the free throw line and get free points. We kind of saw that, in the game at New Mexico State. They came back from that 23-point deficit and beat us by 2. That wasn't going to happen again. Not here, not at Diddle. So defense definitely gets an A. What about the coaching?
Coaching definitely going. I mean, this is probably going to be a clean sweep for me. Coaching definitely going to get an A for this one. Lutz was pretty happy after the game on the post game radio show. He seemed pretty happy with this one, and I mean, I don't blame him. 46.4% field goal. We shot 26.3% from 3-point land, which could have been a little bit better on that. But man, I mean, you're shooting 15 from 17 from the free throw. I mean, that's awesome. Coaching definitely gonna get an A for me on this one.
Yeah, coaching's an A. I mean, this staff is really putting us in position and playing our best basketball at the right time. We've been talking about that for a couple weeks now. Really kind of starting to see a concentration. Like you said, we're seeing less 3-pointers being, we're not putting up 25, 33 points a game. We're seeing that 15 to 20 kind of being the sweet spot there. And we're just seeing a lot of points in the paint, whether it's, throwing it down to Baba and Rodney, those guys getting tough points with their back to the basket, or, if we got Enoch or Don or Brandon or Christian, or just anybody going to the hole and hitting a layup. I mean, the coaching is really focusing on what we do well, what we're efficient at. I think all season, especially earlier this season, we said, man, we're not a good 3-point shooting team. We saw the 3-point shooting streak end, it was early. I think it was against Wichita State, if I'm not mistaken. It was early this season, ended. It's back alive now. I think it's at 24, 23 games now. It's back alive. But if we're not a great 3-point shooting team, then we need to be more aggressive going to the hole and dumping it down to our big guys. So coaching definitely gets an A, man. I love what these guys are doing. Really excited about our potential for the end of the season. What about your grade for the fans?
We have 5,100 there, 5,102 officially or announced. I was doing some housework around here with my wife, so I was able to listen to the game. I heard the fans. I'm gonna give them an A on this one. I still wish there had been more there, but for the ones that was there, it was loud, and I could definitely hear you over the radio. A.
Yeah, don't come to one game this season trying to tell me that the fans need to show up and support this team, because that was a solid crowd. It was a nice 5,100. As somebody that's there for every game and has been for a long time, that was a solid 5,100. They were loud, they were engaged. Rawls hit that little layup near the end of the game, 3 seconds left. Even as the crowd was dispersing, people were leaving, trying to beat traffic. It was still loud in there when they were booing him off the court for being just a little piece of trash that we're glad is gone again. So the fans were great. Obviously, like you said, I wish there were a couple thousand more. Bring a friend, everybody. We could push this thing close to a sellout. We got La Tech coming up as our last home game in a couple weeks. But this game was a solid crowd. It really filled in nicely. They were loud. They were engaged. They cared. So fans, they get an A for me. What about your overall grade?
All right, so New Mexico State, they average 68.5 points per game, and they allow 71.8. So we got their points allowed. We held them 10 less than their points per game. Um, you know, I mean, defense played great, offense played good. Like I said, great. Like we both said, great team effort on there. Even if you didn't score, your players were still giving up assists, still getting rebounds. I'm gonna give overall an A on this, man. I mean, this was a great game. May not have been our best scoring game, but by God, this was close to our best game played.
Yeah, the revenge toppers. I think our athletic trainer John Irwin may have said it best. I forget if it was on Twitter or Instagram, but he said revenge is a dish best served cold in Diddle Arena. So hey guys, welcome to Diddle. You're not winning here. It's nice to get those revenge victories after losing a couple heartbreakers on the road early in the season. Um, that's what we do. We come to Diddle. Our home court. We're not going to lose there again. I know we lost to Sam Houston State. We'll get a chance. We'll see them in Huntsville. It's coming. There's some revenge coming for them. These revenge toppers aren't done, but just overall a nice home stand. Get a couple more victories. Real excited for how this basketball season is shaping up. As we come down to the last few weeks now. Obviously, our next game is this coming Saturday on the 28th at Middle Tennessee. That's always a fun game, always a trip. I plan on making it. Hopefully, we're taking the family with me. Usually, we'd have Toots before the game, get some fried pickles, maybe a chicken on stick. I don't know. We're going to swing by our old stomping grounds. Miss that Bowling Green location, but head down to the Murfreesboro. Check out their trashy arena and their terrible gray floor, and just hopefully bring a whole lot of sea of red down there to spoil their next home game. Because quite frankly, they've been playing well. Since we beat them here at Diddle, pretty handily. They've now went on a little winning streak, so they're playing well. So we're gonna have to go in there focused and doing what we do and really taking advantage of our size. And they had a guy this last game that just went 8 of 8 from three, had 41 points on the game and I think it was a double overtime victory for them. So I doubt we're going to see that kind of effort from one of their players again. After he just had that game, he's probably going to show up and score five and go 0 for 6 from three, and just be disappointing like they have been all season. So I'm looking forward to it. Always a fun trip. That rivalry is always heated, no matter what the records are, who's expected to win, favored, whatever. It's going to be a fun game. And then this season, we're getting closer now to Huntsville. Obviously, that conference tournament being a lot more closer, a lot more accessible to the fans. I hope a lot of people are planning on going. I know myself, I am. Tyler, I know you're hoping to make the trip if we make it to the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. So let's go Tops. I'm ready for it. Tyler, hit us with your final words and take us out of here.
All right, well, UTEP, New Mexico State, it was good whipping that ass. I hope you enjoyed your bus ride or flight back to your respective states. Rawls, piss on you, bro. Middle Tennessee, they're not a basement dweller no more. Their conference records 5-6, 3 games out of the lead. Of course, we are a half a game out of the lead. So since no one else can apparently beat Sam Houston or La Tech, we're going to welcome La Tech here. I think 2 weeks from now on Wednesday. We're going to have to hand them that next deal. But no, whenever he was talking about Middle Tennessee State guy in overtime, he scored 41 points on 11 to 16 shooting and 11-12 from the free throw line. I mean, I hate MTSU. I'm gonna try to get down there. I may be going by myself this weekend, but I'm gonna try to get down there on that
No,
Saturday.
no,
And
you're coming with me.
I mean, I will go down there with you, and I'll be decked out in all red, waving a red towel. Just piss on the Blue Raiders. I ain't got no respect for you. I ain't got no reason to respect you. You're garbage. You're trash. The only other team I probably don't respect less is Marshall. Uh, you know that trashy green reminds me of North Texas. It's played out. You garbage. Um, but no, hey, I hope everyone who can get down to Middle Tennessee State cheer on tops this Saturday, and then welcome and come out to Dill Arena and make La Tech's life living hell the following Wednesday. So with that, I will say, Moff, who has it better than us?
Nobody, but you know it.
Nobody. Go
Go
Tops.
Tops. Later, guys.
See ya.